right, thank you for coming back to another edition of Ask the Experts. We're here with Kleinman, Senior Fellow at the Corzo Center for the University of the Arts. That's correct, right?
You got it.
All right.
Right. Great to be here too. Thank you. Glad to tell you all the wonderful things that are happening in this city.
Good, good. So can you give us a little bit of background on yourself before we begin?
Well, very briefly, I'm the organizer, the primary organizer for the Corzo Center for the Creative Economy. And the Corzo Center's role is multiple. First role is to teach artists, young artists, and media makers how to be more entrepreneurial, how to take advantage of all the stuff they've created so they don't get ripped off, so they can figure out new ways to, they can read agreements and understand what they're signing, what their intellectual property rights are, etc. But in a deeper sense, what it is, as it is for all entrepreneurs, how to take an idea and put it into a new context so that they begin to excite potential investors or incite potential people in the market who might take that idea and say, you know, this is something I want to buy, this is something I want to invest in, this is something that will add value to what I'm doing. So it's not really to make people economically shrewder, better. It's also to find new ways to recreate value based upon creative ideas. Okay,
great. So first question, can you explain to us what is the creative economy?
The creative economy is depends on who you talk to, you're going to get about 20 different definitions, so I will give you the 21st definition. In one sense, one might say that the creative economy is an economy based upon ideas. The ability to take ideas and then make those ideas that are novel, inventive, different approaches to the world we're in, marketable, saleable. It is, one can contrast it with a mechanical economy, a manufacturing economy, an industrial economy, which was involved to a large degree in making products, making objects, making buildings, making cars. In the creative economy, people are taking ideas and making them into reality in ways that have a real economic force. So I'll give you a couple of 3 examples that will make it clear. One might say that Amazon.com is an example, a good example of the creative economy. It is, after all, nothing but what you see. It has a whole back lot in terms of availability of books and the ability to send you books in the mail. But basically what all of us interact with is a virtual reality, a virtual space that's online. The idea for it came from somebody who said, you know, how about if I were to create a complex environment online in which people could ask for order books, could get a sense of what's available out there, could interact in that community, that social community that I could create online, so that people will come back to the site to learn about new books, share what they already know about books, and then buy books. That becomes a creative idea. It didn't depend upon bricks and mortar, it didn't depend upon mechanical things being built. So in some sense, the creative economy is an economy that's always based on the ability to take virtual things and make them real. And with that as a model, you can go across a range of what we're seeing now, increasingly from Netflix to new distribution systems and new development of new forms of creative venues for performance, etc., all online, all of them reinforced by a digital, interactive, social media-based environment that is around us, pervasively around us. And it doesn't include, obviously, as much of, although it can be translated back into, the old bricks and mortar manufacturing, although obviously one can feed the other, but it starts off with the virtual first. Make sense?
Yeah. Okay, so what does that mean for entrepreneurs specifically?
Well, in one sense, it can mean a number of things. It can mean that you can create your business and your idea almost anywhere and have a visibility that is well magnified beyond what your shop looks like. So it's possible for you, Carolyn, for example, to have a remarkable idea for a book. You write it, you put it online, you start to push the idea out. People start to say, well, look, I like that chapter of the book. Maybe I want to buy the whole book. Now, to the degree in which you do that, you're not necessarily even working with a publisher. You've started to build your audience and build your readership even before you sign a contract with a publisher. In fact, when you go in, and so what I'm describing to you is the way in which some writers now are working. When you go into a publisher, you can say, I already have 5,000 people who once every month come and look at my chapters. You certainly want to help me come up with a print version of it. I can expand my website. Or you're a jeweler. You are creating a new model, a new kind of jewelry. But instead of having to manufacture all the jewelry and then run around town and get it into every little retail distribution place, or get it into Urban Outfitters and all of those places, and you may want to do that too. You can say, I will put up a website with the samples of what I've got and start to market through the virtual world and through the viral world and through the particular cunning and way in which I manage to get people interested. You may include numbers of bells and whistles, narrative stories about what you're creating that will get people to your site. And then when a customer says, I really like that jewelry, then you go out and you invest the money in in buying the material to make that jewelry, and then you deliver it 30 days later. So you've changed how you're going to invest your money. In the first instance, normally what people do is invest their money in building the product and then going out and showcasing the product so everybody will see it. In the virtual space, the kind of space I'm talking about, you can start to build your audience first, build the people who want to buy your product first, and then you produce your product because you now know you have enough of an audience. Same time, it's possible for you and your friends to put together a really exciting bookstore online. You're cunning, you're crafty, you're creative, and your bookstore can look as good as Barnes & Noble's down the street. Because for all intents and purposes, no one knows what you look like except for what they see on the website. And your website and another website that's been created somewhere else look all the same, but depend a great deal only upon your ability to be creative in the look and feel, the ways in which you deliver your product online and deliver the promise of the product. So it opens up a range of real possibilities. But the other thing that it does for entrepreneurs per se is it says the amount of money you have to put in front may be less than if you were really starting to develop a production line from the beginning. It may take you $10,000 or $15,000 to build a handsome and good website. That may be very different from what it will cost in terms of investment and return on that investment to build a store or to manufacture all your line of product. And so for young entrepreneurs, it's possible to start up with limited monies. And you see a lot of that going on increasingly. Some of it's fool's gold. That is, some people have a sense they're going to be making lots of money very quickly on very little investment. But you see a lot of it in the iPhone apps. People will invent and create an iPhone app, distribute it, a free bite of the apple online. People say, God, this is a great iPhone app, and I'll sell it for $1, $1.95. But there is a magnifying quality that the new digital environment provides, so that instead of only having to walk up and down the street and hope to get maybe 200 or 300 sales in the first week, you might go online, and if you have the right approach and the right voice and the right talent and the right idea and the right moment, you might end up with 2,000 or 3,000 people or 5,000 in a day, which means that you're able to mine and market there. So for entrepreneurs, this is a very interesting time because one of the basic principles for entrepreneurship is how to reallocate limited amounts of money in order to produce a new product that has a potential return. And this economic environment, this digital environment, allows for that.
Okay, so why is the creative economy specifically important in Philadelphia?
Well, let me say more generally why it's important generally, and then I'll talk more specifically about why it's important in Philadelphia, and why it's important in large cities, especially in the environments. A couple of things that we're seeing. This city and cities like it along the eastern shore are cities that were built around the Industrial Revolution. Big buildings, warehouses, manufacturing. This city, in fact, was, up and through the 50s or 60s, perceived as one of the most important manufacturing centers of in the Northeast. The Naval Yard, further down the street from us, produced extraordinary large ships, large vessels, and in the late 19th century, the Industrial Revolution led to the growth of, frankly, some of the most important, significant manufacturing and publishing enterprises that America had in the late 19th and early 20th century. So you look around this city, and in many ways, it's built, its muscle is built. The suit of clothes it wears is still the suit of clothes it wears from being a manufacturing capital and an office and business capital. Well, the truth of the matter is, we're not doing much manufacturing in the United States. Less and less of it. Even places like Detroit right now are under the gun. People are not producing and making. It'll come back again, but at the same time, the question really that many of us have to address is, how is our society, our economy, going to prosper, grow, create jobs for the young people your age and others, when in fact we no longer have the kind of standard jobs of the manufacturing class, where people could work in various places and through good labor and good contracts make good middle class incomes. They don't exist anymore, and they will, fewer and fewer of them exist. However, as I suggested earlier, the creative economy is a new way of manufacturing with limited resources. It is a new way of creating enterprises that have not only a local market, or national market, but can in fact also have an international market. Now there's a real trade, a real problem obviously, because obviously the competition is growing abroad on the very same area. But if you look at, for example, the entertainment industry in the United States, currently it is one of its major exports. One of the major exports in the United States is our films and entertainment developed out of Hollywood and out of the cable and networks, etc., across the world. That's where we make an incredible amount of resources money now. Competition is coming from China. Obviously, we've had competition from India. So what we're now seeing is a realignment now of the ways in which money is made, jobs are made, and people make livings. And a city like ours, and if you take the creative economy and look at all the pieces of the creative economy, which are not merely the pieces that relate to creating new ideas and products and manufacturing those ideas in ways that people will buy, but it is also connected to this concept called the experience economy, that what people are increasingly buying or interested in is to live in a world in which their interaction with other people is part of the fun of buying a product. Starbucks was one of the examples of it. Disney World, Disneyland is another example of it. But so much of what we get through the iPad, the iPhone, etc., is we're paying for the experience as much as we're paying for the product. So the question then is, how do you make a city like this come alive again, so that it brings people together who are talented and creative, who come to it because they have a chance to experience ideas, to interact with each other, and they redefine then the shape, the physical shape of the city, because they take over the old manufacturing lofts and make houses, galleries, creative new spaces in them. And the third piece of why it's critical, and you can start to see evidence in this city, is that the creative economy, the working and living, not only producing in it, but living in it and playing in it, is very much a growing, is the growing space of people under 35. They're the new generation of people who are going to be leading and creating in this community. Cities will die if they only have people in it who are growing old and retiring and a part of the last generation of success. People who retire on their pensions, who sort of sit and do nothing. It'll be the people who are under 35, under 40, who want to interact, who want to use this new social media, who want to create this new social media, that will give new lifeblood to cities. If you look at the cities that have survived and prospered as well as countries, it's been that new generation of the young that transform it. is not the older generation that are sitting there clipping their coupons. So, if this city is to make it, if any urban city, whether it's Detroit or Philadelphia or New York, and you see that New York understands it very well, understands this dynamic, as does Chicago, as does LA, and to some degree San Francisco. But cities like Philadelphia, if they are to survive, they are going to have to be cities that re-engage using the creative economy, re-engage people in the space so they feel, A, that it's a fun place, a creative place to be in, to live in, and to interact in, and then also a creative space to work and make in. If you can't do that, ultimately you'll have these empty enterprises in which they are a zombie land, where people wander around remembering the past but having no happy future.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Pretty tough stuff.
Wow. Okay, well, I know that the Corzo Center is doing a lot for the creative economy here in Philadelphia. So can you talk a little bit about the resources that you all offer entrepreneurs?
Yeah. Well, let me say first about, I think the Corzo Center is doing some wonderful stuff, and I'm certainly going to be glad to tell you all about that. But what I'm excited by is that there's a growing community of people like the Corzo Center throughout the city who are also trying to do some of the same things in different parts of it. There's a growing commitment on the parts of people, parts of groups of people here, that we have to find ways to support the new emerging young entrepreneurs. So, with that said, the Corzo Center, and I can have the moment to Kleinman on the air, I'll tell you about some of those other groups that they might go look at or you might interview.
Yeah.
But having said that, the Corzo Center at this point has as its target population people from the sort of ages of 35 to 26, or a little younger, because basically it's before the nervous system. We're trying to support, find ways to help people who are just emerging from college or graduate school, or just out of college and graduate school, who have debts they have to pay off, who have jobs they're trying to look for, who thought they were being prepared for traditional careers, and they walk outside the door and discover, my God, those careers don't exist. No one wants to hire me, but they have all this imagination. So the question really is how to find opportunities or show them that the opportunities are there in an entrepreneurial way for them to redefine and recreate their role in the world. So we offer lots of workshops on marketing and thinking about marketing. We provide workshops on how to write a business plan. We have a Saturday workshop we do through the empowerment group that teaches somebody from zero all the way through how to take an idea, how to figure out what its value is, who its market is, how you put it together in a business plan, and then how you get somebody perhaps to invest in it, or how you get people to buy the product. So we do a range of those kinds of workshops. And then we also try to showcase people who are doing innovative new ideas in the area of design and film. So you can begin to say, oh, not only this is the way you might do it, but here are people who have done it. Here's how they've done it. Here's what you can learn from them. Try to find as many networking environments and experiences as we can for them. We've now created a series of things called office hours. It's sort of like doctor's rounds. It's sort of like the emergency room. You're an entrepreneur and you got a business problem, a marketing problem. You make an appointment, free. Anybody in this community can go to an office hour. You sign up, it's first come, first served, and you get a half an hour with an entrepreneur or somebody who's an expert in marketing, or somebody who's a lawyer, or somebody who's an accountant, or somebody who knows something about social media. You say, here's my problem, doctor. How do I work my way through this? What's the solution? Maybe in that half an hour you get a solution. Maybe you're referred to somebody else. Maybe you come back for another session. So it's an ability for us to try to bring solutions to people at the grassroots level, especially that target population. We also, for people who are part of the University of the Arts community, we're creating virtual incubators. We help to fund new ideas. At this point, I don't have the money to make it available beyond the University of Arts community, but we have once a month we will have something called Corzo Create, where people are able to put a new idea online, and the one that gets the most votes gets $1,500.
Wow.
And all they have to do at the other end is show us they've done what they sort of said, and we put it up online. They get 1,000 in front and 500 if they've shown us that they've done what they've done, what they supported by the workshops that we were offering. And then finally, we're hosting Good Company Venture, which is an incubator that takes people for a summer and helps them take their ideas, shape their ideas up to go out to potential investors. And some of our people use the space, but other people from the community have to apply, they have to be accepted. It gives them a chance. It's a not-for-profit venture. The incubator, Good Company Incubator, if they accept you, doesn't take any of your money. You get an investor, they're happy for you. Unlike other incubators that will take a percentage of how much you make from your first investment pool. So that's one of the other things that we're sort of supportive of. And then we also co-sponsor a remarkable number of ventures, Philadelphia Startup Leaders Group, other groups that come in here and use our space and have public lectures and conversations. Because what we want to do, and it's the most critical piece of it, is to enhance the network, the social networks, and people begin to know who other people are, what they're doing, learn from each other, share with each other, etc. And if anybody wants to know more about the Corzo Center, they should go to Corzo Center, CORZOCENTER, .UArts, UARTS.edu, Corzo Center UArts.edu, and we have all our programs up. We're sort of have a few programs this summer. Most of our stuff won't begin again until the early fall.
All right. Great. Well, thanks so much for meeting with us and answering our questions.
That's great, and go forth, prosper, multiply, and spread the good word.
And visit corzocenter.uarts.edu.
Right, here on Broad Street, the Avenue of the Arts,
That's right.
where the great and the young meet together to create new ideas.